Welcome to Can I Park Here? Brought to you by FindAFashionTruck.com. Nashay and Estrell's mission is to inspire future and existing small business owners. They don't claim to be experts. They're simply trying to figure this all out, just like you.
Hello again, and welcome to Can I Park Here? I'm Nashay Snow, and I'm here with
Estrell Riles.
Today, we bring to you Teondra Bannerman, owner of the Sensual Persuasion mobile boutique located in Rose Hill, North Carolina.
Teondra is a newbie on the fashion truck scene. She's only been in operation for, I want to say, about a year now.
Yeah, and the great thing about Teondra is she's coming from a very small town. A lot of times you hear, especially in the news, about like the larger ones, larger fashion trucks from New York or from California and some other big cities. But this just goes to prove, like, even if you're in a very small city, that you too can open up a fashion truck.
I have to commend Teondra because she is the master of multitasking. She is not only operating her mobile boutique, but she also is in school to get her master's degree. She is a substitute teacher, a tutor, and she still manages to make a reasonable amount of time to spend with her son and to tend to all of his needs and be involved in his education and everything else. So I have to give it to her. You know, starting a new business is hard, and she has figured out a way to make her business become a success and still have time for other things as well.
Yeah, so I feel like even though she's just starting out on her journey, for others that are also just starting out on their journey, this is a great way to find out what Teondra is going through, how she's working through operating a trailer, figuring out what point of sale systems, what to sell, you name it. It's just good to hear from other people that are going through the same struggles and how they're like overcoming the newness of this industry and trying to figure out how to make it a success. So we hope you enjoy this episode. We'd love to hear your feedback. After the episode, please be sure to leave a comment at startafashiontruck.com. But let's take a listen.
Here we go.
Hello, and welcome to Can I Park Here? My name is Nashay Snow, and I'm here with
Estrell Riles.
Today, we have with us Teondra Bannerman from the Sensual Persuasion mobile boutique. Welcome, Teondra.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you on. We're going to start out just finding out a little bit about you. So if you could tell us kind of your background and why you decided to start a fashion truck.
I have always been a tomboy, so it was kind of different and weird for me to be so in love with fashion. I decided to start a store that was basically online. My mom has had a clothing store for years. She's more formal and I kind of wanted to be casual and comfortable. When I started online, it didn't really take off like I wanted it to. It wasn't as personal as I needed it to be. I came up with the idea of having a mobile boutique. I had been seeing it surface on Pinterest and Facebook, and I liked the idea. I like being mobile and flexible and free. I don't like having to sit in a brick and mortar place and kind of occupy my time. I like to talk. I like to meet new people, and fashion is a great way to tie it in. My son has a whole lot of medical issues, so that for me was a major component in being flexible. I have to be flexible so that I can take care of all of his needs. I like to be a big part of school. I like to be a big part of his health. I like to go to all doctor's appointments, and I just needed to be flexible at all times, like my way.
Now, when did you start your mobile boutique?
I actually started my business in 2012, and it kind of evolved into a mobile boutique a year ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're like just starting out and just starting to get that momentum going.
I'm a baby.
How's the experience been so far?
The experience has been different because I have a cargo trailer that I turned into a store versus having an actual truck. Limitations that I have as far as having a truck to pull it, I don't personally have my own, so I have to share. And that's a major limitation. But other than that, everything is very, very exciting.
Now, were you able to take your cargo truck out last year, or are you kind of still working on designing it and putting it all together?
I have designed it. I have taken it out, but I don't have the outside done. The inside is fully built out, and it houses all of my stuff with the colors and the branding. Everything inside is good, but the outside is missing the logo and the personalization.
Now, so I guess the trailer, this is like a pretty big trailer that people can like walk in and browse and all that good stuff.
Yes. My trailer is a 512 cargo trailer.
Oh, huge.
It has 2 entrances, of course. The big let-down entrance at the back, and then a side door. Oh, and it's big enough for me to have shelves and racks and display cases and everything.
And then I guess because I remember reading someone also had like a trailer, and they said it could get kind of tricky when you're like connecting it or disconnecting it. So do you have somebody that helps you with that when you get to events, or is it pretty easy to like disconnect it from your vehicle?
I'm actually spoiled, so I'm a daddy's girl. My dad does that for me.
Nice.
So I just tell him when I want to go out, and he has it set up and prepared. So when I get there to pick up the truck, I just drive off. I don't have to worry about connecting it.
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing, because I would be so lost.
Now, do you mind sharing the initial business startup costs and like what the cost of the truck was specifically, and how you went about getting any permits for parking and permits for the truck, etc.?
The trailer actually came up to like $2,600 roughly with tax, and I got permanent tags, and they were like $75. To do inventory, I kind of started small, and then when I sell, I just replenish my inventory. I didn't start out with like $2,000 and stuff like that. I started out with like 2 and 3, and then I just replenished as I went along.
And what about the products that you sell? What type of items do you carry in your truck, and where do you get them?
Mostly I sell women's products, but I have ventured into selling a few of the male accessories like hats, some shirts. But for the most part, I sell handbags, scarves, jewelry, purses. I have done shoes, and I sell women's clothing.
For your first year, because some of our previous interviewees, they say like their first year, they primarily broke even. And then the second year, that's when they started to turn a profit. Was that the same for you? Like now that you've gone through like your first full year, did you pretty much break even, or were you able to like turn a profit and use some of that money to not only put back into the business, but to put towards bills and other things like that? Or are you hoping to do that this next year?
I have actually been able to make a profit. It's not as much profit as I would like. My business income is not in the bracket that I want it to be, or in the bracket that it will be, that I'm aiming towards. Not necessarily breaking even, but I guess making a small profit was because I've been in business for a while, not necessarily as a mobile boutique, but I have had a chance to build customers. And then my mom also has a clothing store, so her customers kind of shop with me, and we share, kind of. So we work together.
What are some of the lessons that you've learned with regards to being a small business owner?
Venturing out. I kind of got scared in the beginning to venture out to different areas. I got comfortable with the customers that I had, or I wanted to stay within my community. So you have to kind of find customers outside of your comfort zone and market to your ideal client.
And what do you consider your ideal client to be?
My ideal client is someone that has minimal time. I'm always busy with school and work and my son. I will be able to relate to a woman that doesn't have time but wants to still look good and wants to be beautiful and wants to feel good and comes into my boutique, and I can help her. I can maximize her time because I know how it feels to be overloaded or stressed for time or on a timeline. So I'll be able to help her faster than someone that doesn't really have a full plate.
Now, do you also work like a 9 to 5, or is this like your full-time gig where are you able to like dedicate all your time to it?
I have a couple of part-time jobs, right. And I also go to school. I'm working on a master's in public health. Okay. I'm a substitute for our local school system, and I'm a tutor for our local school system. And I have aspirations to be a physician assistant. I have a private patient that I work with so that I can gain experience in patient contact hours.
That's great, because then you have like multiple options and you can really figure out like what works, what doesn't work. Yeah. And then I forgot to ask, have you gone to any craft fairs or food truck events in your trailer, or do you do private parties? What have you found to be like most successful, and what are some of your tactics in trying to just find like places to park? Because I know that could be tricky in a lot of cities, like figuring out where you can park and where you're going to get like good, a good amount of people to come in and purchase your items.
I've been to several vendor events. The most lucrative setup that I have seen is going to different businesses in my community and surrounding communities and letting them come out and shop during their lunch break, or if they get time during the day to just walk out while I'm there. The tricky part about that is, going on paydays and finding the right days and establishing a relationship with someone that works in there to be able to come and set up. My town is pretty small, so they don't really know what to do with a mobile boutique.
Right.
Does the size of your trailer ever limit your parking options?
As far as parking, no, because they tell me where they want me to park and they make sure that it's enough space. And most of the time I go to public offices. So they have to have enough space for like transportation buses and big trucks to come in. Not necessarily 18-wheelers, but, the large SUVs. The only limitation I have as far as driving is I don't know how to back up yet.
Oh.
So I'm in the process of learning, and my dad tells me never park anywhere you can't back up. You have to back up. I just park where I can drive straight through.
Right.
Good idea.
What has like the response being like if in your town like there are you the only fashion truck? I can't
think
remember.
So. There is one 2 towns over, but it's about 45 minutes away. Everybody that I meet, they always ask me, what is it? Where did you get that idea from? So it's not really popular here. And my town's like really, really small. So no one really knows about it.
Right. They're like, what is this?
Yes.
Now, do you think, after you finish school and get your degree, do you think you'll still do the fashion truck, like maybe on weekends? Or do you think like maybe after a year or two, you'll probably give it up?
I definitely don't want to give it up. I would like to get bigger. I have big goals, but I actually want to be more, I guess I could franchise later or have an actual storefront, but I want to have multiple stores. I don't know if I want to have multiple boutiques, mobile boutiques, or if I actually want an actual storefront. But I do know that I want to be more so of a household name than I am now. I want this to be lucrative for me because it is a passion of mine. And when I do become a physician assistant, I don't want to be focused on money. I want that to be its own separate entity, and I want it to be me focusing on helping people. So I love it. I love it because it can tie in together, because I want a women's health clinic. This is like a retail therapy type of movement. It can help. Like me, I feel like I'm a tomboy. I like to do outdoor activities. I like to run. I like to play sports. I still want to be cute. So I want to be able to help other women or other young ladies that their self-esteem is not where it should be, or maybe they do have high self-esteem, but they don't know how to work it, or they don't know how to piece together an outfit or coordinate what they want in their mind into what they actually demonstrate on their body.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I'm like that.
And it's the whole idea of giving back. Like we did before we start podcasting, we did an interview with the Threads for Teens fashion truck, which was another truck that, is part of giving back and kind of helping, women or really young girls, like, improve their self-esteem and, have things like beautiful things to wear. So I definitely think it's great. And it's funny too, you mentioned having a brick and mortar store. And I feel like that's what we've found, like in talking with people and reading a lot of articles on Fashion Truck. Most people will start out with the fashion truck and then they'll go online or do it simultaneously. And then from there, they'll get that brick and mortar store. It seems like that's usually the pattern. I mean, every once in a while, I'll read an article about an already established brick and mortar store that then gets a fashion truck for special events and to get them more exposure in, surrounding towns. So I feel like it's definitely achievable. It's just really just working hard to get that exposure out there, making sure people get to know you online, making sure your website is ready to handle like additional traffic that you might bring in. So it's really just kind of preparing yourself for that success and really putting yourself out there.
It's a great journey.
Hey, dreams come true. Estrella and I, when we started this, it's almost been a year. It'll be a year in a couple of months. All we did is we said, hey, we're just going to focus instead of focusing primarily on turning a profit. We're just going to focus on helping people, getting to know the fashion truck community, finding out how we can assist them and give them the material they need in order to make them more successful. And then from there, we can figure out like how we can monetize it and then sustain ourselves on it. And it's like a dream of ours. So it just takes time. And if you're just willing to be patient and put in the hard work, I feel like dreams eventually come true. It's a waiting game.
You have a pretty amazing concept. I love it.
Oh, thanks. We've gotten like a tremendous response from like the whole fashion truck community. And it's awesome that we get to touch like people like you because you're the only one in your town. Because like there's some places like California and New York, they have more of a community. I think California, I forgot how many, they might have like 30 trucks. So it's easier probably for people to start up there because they can reach out to other trucks. But when you're in like a town or a city and you're like the lone soldier and you're like the first one, it makes it really difficult. So we're just glad that you were able to find us and that we can help out a little bit.
Yeah,
yes.
and that's the big reason why we started the Facebook group as well, because we want all of you guys to get together and network. And if you have questions, put them out there. It's so, especially for the newbies, if you just got your truck or you want to start a new truck, a truck in the future, it's helpful to pick the brains of the more established businesses so that you'll know the tips and tricks to get yourself, started and know what pitfalls to avoid as well.
It's like a huge community out there. We're like almost at 400 trucks in the US and we probably haven't even hit all of them. So that's a lot. I mean, of course, food trucks is probably 2-3 times as much, but I mean, fashion trucks are like growing like crazy. It's insane. I love it.
Yes, I do too. It's exciting.
One of the questions that we always get from people who are like really just starting out is, what point of sale system do trucks use? Like some people use Square, some people use PayPal. Do you have a preference? Like when you're selling your item, do you use any of those, or do you use another point of sale system?
Mostly in the truck, I use Square. But if I'm doing something online or if I need to send an invoice, I do it through PayPal.
Yeah, it seems like Square is like crazy popular.
Yeah. I like it because it's next day deposit. That's the best part.
Yeah. And the fee isn't crazy too. Like it's like a decent fee.
Yeah. I think PayPal and Square have about the same fees, but I think it takes a little longer for PayPal to deposit into your account.
Yeah, I wouldn't say PayPal is like 2 to 3 business days.
Yeah, and I don't really like that.
You're like, I need my money.
And that's what I've noticed with Etsy as well. Etsy, it's like you have to wait. Like if I got a sale today, I have to wait until next Monday in order to get my money deposited into my account. And that's crazy.
That is crazy. And one thing I do like about PayPal that I don't think Square has is automatic payments. You can do automatic drafts from someone's account. I mean, of course they would agree to it, but it's like a monthly draft, like an ACH charge.
Yeah. I mean, I like Square, but I absolutely love PayPal. Like that's my choice. Like if I see anything online and it has PayPal, that's what I'm using. You know, I've just used this for so long. It's like, I trust it. So I try to use that as much as possible.
I meant to ask you, when you were talking about finding places to park with different businesses in your town, how do you go about collaborating with those local businesses in order to establish days where you can come and park? Do you only contact businesses that you are familiar with, or do you have some type of tactic to speak to new businesses so that you can gain those new clientele?
Believe it or not, the businesses that I have been to, people have come to me and asked, you know, when do you come out, or how do you go about shopping in your boutique? And I tell them, hey, I can come on your lunch break, or you can designate a time where I can come to your job and you can just send everybody out and they can shop. While I'm there, if they like my stuff, they'll stay. I know one place told me that their payday is every 2 weeks. So they wanted me to come with new stuff every 2 weeks.
Do you have flyers and, you know, business cards and things like that you leave your customers with? That way, if they know of other businesses looking for something like that, they can just give them your information?
I have business cards. My media kit is not where I want it to be right now, but I'm aspiring to get different stuff. I have a photographer friend in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. He's really, really good, and he does models and aspiring models. So I'll put some of my merchandise on some of his models, or I'll get him to do photo shoots for me. And once I put those on Facebook and I can kind of share them, and I can make the memes with my number and my website and my email address or my Facebook name, and people can get in contact with me through social media. I leave business cards. A lot of people have my number and they'll just text me if somebody else wants to meet. But I do plan on having posters and flyers, the little postcards, like the party flyers. That's our next venture. We'll be getting some of those and we'll be passing them out and kind of getting a street team together.
For our audience, I'm glad they're, especially the ones that are aspiring to be boutique owners or fashion truck owners, I'm glad that they heard you say like using a professional photographer, because can't remember the number of the episode. Is probably episode 2 or 3, but we had a photographer on Lakay Umba Photography, and we talked about the importance of really taking professional photos in order to sell your stuff online, because people really get inspired by those quality photos, and they can help on social networking sites too, because people pin it or add it to their Instagram. So it's good to hear you say like that you value that too, and that you actually have someone that you can count on to do that. So that's great.
It really makes a big difference. I have people come up to me and say, "Oh, I saw your picture on Facebook. Who does your photography?" And these are people that don't know anything about photography. They don't really know anything about fashion, but they noticed that my pictures were done professionally. And it really makes a big difference.
I think it does too.
Especially when the photographer is very creative.
Yeah, and they do, because then it's unique to your brand, and you can have it styled so it matches you, which is great. And then also for the listeners too, just to let you know, this boutique is in Rose Hill, North Carolina. If you're in other parts of North Carolina, don't fret. Like, even if you go and find a fashion truck and go to North Carolina, we do have 13 boutiques listed. So it's not like North Carolina doesn't have any. It's just small, and it's starting to grow. Now for you, do you travel to, like, I know we have some listed for like Asheville and Weddington, North Carolina, Apex, and some other places too. Like, I don't know how close all of these cities are. Do you ever travel to some of the other cities and do events, or do you mostly stay near the Rose Hill area?
I have been to other cities to do some events. I've never seen another fashion truck. The only thing about North Carolina is that most of the cities are far apart, especially when you live in the country like me. I live in the country. So the nearest cities that actually have stuff going on are like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe 2 or 3 hours away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quick question. I'm looking at your website now, and it says that you also offer personal styling. Can you talk a little bit more about that as far as what you offer?
I have always been able to pick your outfit out and pick out a nice set of accessories. And everyone always asks me, how do I put this together? So I took it upon myself to actually offer styling. You tell me what you like, what you don't like. For most of my customers, if I see them on a regular basis, or if they've shopped with me more than 2 or 3 times, then I kind of know their style, and I kind of know what type of stuff they'll like, what type of stuff interests them.
It's nice to offer that, because it'll set you apart from maybe other fashion trucks or other brick and mortar boutiques, knowing that they could go into your trailer or contact you online, and that you'll help them pick out like some outfits that'll work for them. So now we are about to enter what we're calling our lightning round. And in the lightning round, we're going to ask you 4 questions and just kind of say whatever comes to your brain first. There's no right or wrong answers here.
Okay.
So do you have a favorite podcast or blog? And if so, what is it?
I don't. I kind of just view everything. I'm very open. I like to learn. I don't really stay with just one. I look at everything and I take everything in, and I break it down into pieces that I can use. What I can't use, I reserve in the back of my mind just in case I can help someone else and they might need that information. So my brain's kind of like very weird.
Now you're absorbing everything.
Yes.
If you could have any celebrity, entertainer, model, mentor, whoever visit your mobile boutique, who would it be?
I think I would have to say Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, yeah. She's like really hot right now. Yeah, I
know. You better have some leopard or what's the zebra, whatever. Her clothes be outrageous.
Yeah, like
she has
lots
so much
of pattern, lots
attitude.
of color. Yeah, I mean, she rocks it. Yeah.
She is bold.
And you definitely have to have some extremely, at least like 4 to 5 inch heels, so extremely high heels too for her.
Yes.
What do you like to do in your free time to like just wind down and de-stress after work?
I like spending time with my son. I'm not one of those parents that wants a break all the time. I enjoy my son. He's only 6, but my son's been through a lot. So I kind of view parenthood differently. I count it as a blessing, and I feel like I'm privileged to be in his presence.
Oh,
Yeah, that's so sweet. Yeah, it doesn't sound weird at all. And then, yeah, and you know, it's I think it's excellent that you were able to find a business because you were saying that he had some medical issues. I believe he still has some medical issues, or I don't know if it was just when he was born, but that you were able to find something that allows you to spend more time with him. So I think that's great.
Yes. And it benefits him as well because now he wants to have his own business. He's kind of started a snack company and he sells to my customers and he kind of helps me sell too. So he's like working both things. He's really, really cute. He's so adorable. And he has these little glasses and ladies like love him. So he's like, oh, that's cute. I think that looks good on you. So he's my helper. He says
that's good. You're starting him off young, so he's getting on the right path.
Business partner.
Right.
I just do all the work, but he's my business partner.
And then the last one for the lightning round is Android or iPhone, and what's your favorite app?
Definitely Android. Favorite app is Pandora. I love to listen to music. It kind of calms me down.
What's your favorite station?
I'm a gospel person, so it's between Tasha Cobb's and I love the Anthony Hamilton station because I've added diversity, so it kind of plays the neo soul and gospel songs that aren't too like choir churchy, but soulful and inspirational.
More modern.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the final question is, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail?
I like doing multiple streams of income, but I would personally like to brand myself to be an image consultant, and I would like for my boutique to be booked. I would like to have multiple days a week to go out. I like going out because I like to talk, of course, and I like meeting new people. I'm a people person. So I would love that aspect of it to be very successful. And I would like to be not necessarily famous. My goal is to be wealthy. So that part would tie into my women's health center and all of it would kind of work together. That's my main goal. I want all of it to be cohesive. I want it to work together and benefit women in my community and my surrounding communities. And through my business, I would like for it to impact people, I guess, maybe on a global level.
No, that's great. Hey, I say you're going to do it. Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time.
That's my prayer.
Well, thank you very much. This has been like a delightful interview, and it might be this podcast that inspires others. So pretty awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Well, it was great having Teondra on the show. That was a fun episode.
It was. I think that she will be an inspiration to all of the other new businesses out there.
And I'm curious to find out what happens after she completes her master's, how she balances possibly getting a new full-time job while also trying to figure out how to move the fashion truck forward. It'll be just great to see her like achieve and accomplish like the goals that she set out.
Yeah, and I know it's hard trying to do business in a small town. So, I'm also looking forward to finding out how she is able to work around that. And if she's able to travel and venture out into other cities, in the North Carolina area.
Yeah, so if you're in North Carolina, definitely look her up. If you're not near Rose Hill, like I mentioned in the episode, there are other trucks too in North Carolina. So be sure to go to findafashiontruck.com and just look under North Carolina and you might be able to find one near you.
All right. So, you guys, if you're interested in finding more out about Sensual Persuasion Mobile Boutique, you can find Teondra's boutique on Facebook at Sensual Persuasion Mobile Boutique and on IG and Twitter at Get Persuaded.
Yeah. And of course, to find us, you can go on to Instagram or Twitter, and we are FFT_official_. You can go on Facebook or Pinterest and just look up Find a Fashion Truck. And of course, you can find show notes to this episode on startafashiontruck.com. We look forward to hearing from you, and we really hope you enjoyed this episode.
Until next time.